Flowering plant. Article. Talk. Flowering plants, redirects here. For the book by G. Legid Stebbins, see Flowering plants, evolution above the species level. Flowering plants are plants that bear flowers and fruits, and form the clade Angiospermae, ɛndʒiəઃspərmiː. 5.6 The term angiosperm is derived from the Greek words ἀγγεῖον, container, vessel, and sperma, seed, meaning that the seeds are enclosed within a fruit. The group was formerly called Magnoliophyta. 7. Flowering plant. Temporal range: Early Cretaceous, Val-Anginian, recent. Pre. O. O. D. C. P. T. J. K. PG. N. Terrestrial, buttercup. Aquatic, water lily. Wind-pollinated, grass. Insect-pollinated, apple. Tree, oak. Forb, orchid. Diversity of angiosperms. Scientific classification. Kingdom. Plantae. Clade. Tracheophytes. Clade. Spermatophytes. Clade. Angiosperms. Groups, APG4, 1. Basal angiosperms. Amborellales. Nymphials. Ostrobaleales. Core angiosperms. Clades. Magnoliids. Monocots. Eudicots. Orders. Chloranthales. Ceratophyllales. Synonyms. Anthophyta cronquist, 2. Angiosperma lindell. Magnoliophyta cronquist, tact. And W. Zim, 3. Magnolica tact, 4. Angiosperms are by far the most diverse group of land plants with 64 orders, 416 families, approximately 13,000 known genera, and 300,000 known species. 8. They include all forbs, flowering plants without a woody stem, grasses and grass-like plants, a vast majority of broad-leaved trees, shrubs and vines, and most aquatic plants. Angiosperms are distinguished from the other major seed plant clade, the gymnosperms, by having flowers, xylem consisting of vessel elements instead of tracheids, endosperm within their seeds, and fruits that completely envelop the seeds. The ancestors of flowering plants diverged from the common ancestor of all living gymnosperms before the end of the Carboniferous, over 300 million years ago. In the Cretaceous, angiosperms diversified explosively, becoming the dominant group of plants across the planet. Agriculture is almost entirely dependent on angiosperms, and a small number of flowering plant families supply nearly all plant-based food and livestock feed. Rice, maize and wheat provide half of the world's staple calorie intake, and all three plants are cereals from the Poaceae family, colloquially known as grasses. Other families provide important industrial plant products such as wood, paper and cotton, and supply numerous ingredients for beverages, sugar production, traditional medicine, and modern pharmaceuticals. Flowering plants are also commonly grown for decorative purposes, with certain flowers playing significant cultural roles in many societies. Out of the Big Five extinction events in Earth's history, only the Cretaceous-Paleogene extinction event had occurred while angiosperms dominated plant life on the planet. Today, the Holocene extinction affects all kingdoms of complex life on Earth, and conservation measures are necessary to protect plants in their habitats in the wild in situ, or failing that, ex situ in seed banks or artificial habitats like botanic gardens. Otherwise, around 40% of plant species may become extinct due to human actions such as habitat destruction, introduction of invasive species, unsustainable logging, land clearing and overharvesting of medicinal or ornamental plants. Further, climate change is starting to impact plants and is likely to cause many species to become extinct by 2100. Contents: Distinguishing features. Angiosperms are terrestrial vascular plants. Like the gymnosperms, they have roots, stems, leaves, and seeds. They differ from other seed plants in several ways. Feature. Description. Image. Flowers. The reproductive organs of flowering plants, not found in any other seed plants. 9. A narcissus flower in section. Petals and sepals are replaced here by a fused tube, the corona, and tepals. Reduced gametophytes, 3 cells in male, 7 cells with 8 nuclei in female, except for basal angiosperms. 10. The gametophytes are smaller than those of gymnosperms. 11. The smaller size of the pollen reduces the time between pollination and fertilization, which in gymnosperms is up to a year. 12. Embryo sac is a reduced female gametophyte. Endosperm. Endosperm forms after fertilization, but before the zygote divides. It provides food for the developing embryo, the cotyledons, and sometimes the seedling. 13. Closed carpel enclosing the ovules. Once the ovules are fertilized, the carpels, often with surrounding tissues, develop into fruits. Gymnosperms have unenclosed seeds. 14. Peas seeds, from ovules inside pod, fruit, from fertilized carpel. Xylem made of vessel elements. Open vessel elements are stacked end to end to form continuous tubes, whereas gymnosperm xylem is made of tapered tracheids connected by small pits. 15. Xylem vessels, long tubes. Diversity. Ecological diversity. Further information, plant ecology. Largest and smallest. Eucalyptus regnans, a tree almost 100 m tall. Wolfia rhiza, a rootless floating freshwater plant under 2 mm across. The largest angiosperms are eucalyptus gum trees of Australia, and Shorea fagetiana, dipterocarp rainforest trees of Southeast Asia, both of which can reach almost 100 meters, 330 feet, in height. 16. The smallest are Wolfia duckweeds which float on freshwater, each plant less than 2 mm, 0.08 in, across. 17. Photosynthetic and parasitic. Gunnera captures sunlight for photosynthesis over the large surfaces of its leaves, which are supported by strong veins. Orobanche purpurea, a parasitic broomrape with no leaves, obtains all its food from other plants. Considering their method of obtaining energy, some 99% of flowering plants are photosynthetic autotrophs, deriving their energy from sunlight and using it to create molecules such as sugars. The remainder are parasitic, whether on fungi like the orchids for part or all of their life cycle. 18. Or on other plants, either wholly like the broomrapes, orobanche, or partially like the witchweeds, striga. 19. Hot, cold, wet, dry, fresh, salt. Carnegie gigantea, the saguaro cactus, grows in hot dry deserts in Mexico and the southern United States. Dryas octopetala, the mountain avens, lives in cold Arctic and montane habitats in the far north of America and Eurasia. Nelumbo nucifera, the sacred lotus, grows in warm freshwater across tropical and subtropical Asia. Zostera seagrass grows on the seabed in sheltered coastal waters. In terms of their environment, flowering plants are cosmopolitan, occupying a wide range of habitats on land, in fresh water, and in the sea. On land, they are the dominant plant group in every habitat except for frigid moss-lichen tundra and coniferous forest. 20. The seagrasses in the Alismatalas grow in marine environments, spreading with rhizomes that grow through the mud in sheltered coastal waters. 21. Acid, alkaline. Drosera anglica, a sundew, lives in nutrient-poor acid bogs, deriving nutrients from trapped insects. 22. Gentiana verna, the spring gentian, flourishes in dry limestone habitats. 23. Some specialized angiosperms are able to flourish in extremely acid or alkaline habitats. The sundews, many of which live in nutrient-poor acid bogs, are carnivorous plants, able to derive nutrients such as nitrate from the bodies of trapped insects. 22. Other flowers such as gentiana, the spring gentian, are adapted to the alkaline conditions found on calcium-rich chalk and limestone, which give rise to often dry topographies such as limestone pavement. 23. Herbaceous, woody, climbing. Geranium rubertinum, Herb Robert, is an annual or biennial herb of Europe and North America. Betula pendula, the silver birch, is a perennial deciduous tree of Eurasia. Lianas ostrostenosia, parsonsia, and sarcopetalum climbing trees in Australia. As for their growth habit, the flowering plants range from small, soft herbaceous plants, often living as annuals or biennials that set seed and die after one growing season, 24, to large perennial woody trees that may live for many centuries and grow to many meters in height. Some species grow tall without being self-supporting like trees by climbing on other plants in the manner of vines or lianas. 25. Taxonomic diversity. Family. English name. No of SPP.